more,
from experience, huh? From
right,
your
right,
imagination. Okay.
right. But it's more like sort of emotional misdemeanors,
Okay.
relationships with inappropriate men.
Okay.
Um, there's one essay about I was sort of drunk in a bar in Galveston, this sort of seedy bar, and I was alone, but I was married. And I just made this decision, oh, I should get divorced, the really bad time to make a decision. So it's sort of those misdemeanors. So the actions of the narrator are in conflict with what she really wants. And so that's sort of the overall theme of the book.
That's interesting. Yeah, we all have those thoughts, I think. You go through life and wait, this isn't what I imagined. Can it be different? Then when it comes down to it, do I really want to change? Maybe not. Maybe what's I'm imagining is all fairy tale and that's not really gonna happen, that kind of thing. So tell me more about that.
I sort of presented myself and men saw me kind of as a they sort of sexualized me, saw me as a sex object.
Do you mind talking about women a little bit? Because what's happening now happened to us when we were, younger. We went through it. We got the whole feminist movement or whatever you want to call it. Um, we did the work then to get the rights that we have now, and then now they want to take those rights back and put everybody back into their boxes. It's we I don't think it'll happen. I think we're strong enough now that it's not going to happen, but it is a little bit scary. But for people that don't know, the younger girls and guys that don't know what it was like then, talk a little bit about
I
that.
remember exactly where I was standing when I heard about Roe v. Wade being passed. I
Mhm.
mean, that's how powerful it is because that's
Mhm.
a long time ago. And now women's rights are being taken away, and it's scary, it's horrifying. It's men making decisions for women's bodies.
Mhm.
And that's just, it is so depressing and it makes me so angry. And I don't know, the Supreme Court is stacked against women, and I don't know what's going to happen, but it's a lot. And I think women really have to band together.
Even though we're in this horrible mess right now, somebody ripped the Band-Aid off and it showed what the scab is. And we've got to just heal that because it
Yeah,
was always there. We just didn't talk about it before. So it's
right.
ugly, but I think we'll get through it. We just had to see it in order to be able to heal it. And there's enough people that are good people that are banding together to heal it because we are all the same and we need to support each other. I live in Los Angeles, which is very diverse, and I was raised in diversity, so I'm really lucky in that way. Other
Yeah,
people weren't. Other people were raised in uh, places like go to church where they're taught a certain thing. So as babies, they're taught to think a certain
right.
way. So can we judge them? Not really. So really, the only way to open mindset is through education and conversation, right?
Exactly. Yeah, no, I think that's true. And, I mean, like podcasts like yours, I mean, that, to have a really open and honest discussion, I mean, that helps move sort of the narrative forward as well. Hey,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh,
And can
good.
you hear me?
I can hear you perfect. Yeah.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
how cute. So it's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, sure. I'm happy to do it. It's a new thing. We only did it actually this month, but I've done several interviews. I'm loving it. It's really fun.
Oh,
I did it
good.
because I'm an author too. And so I started this because I wanted to help other people promote their works because it's hard. You get your book published and then the publisher says bye-bye. You're just like
Yeah.
you're something in the month and then the next month they don't know who you are. So you have
Yeah.
to really promote yourself. So I thought this is a good way for us to promote ourselves, and then you'll be able to use the clips for your own marketing afterwards.
That's
I'll,
great.
I'll
Thank
give
you
you
so
access to
much.
everything. Sure, and I'll put the links in the bios and things like that too.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So cool. So let's start. So hi, I'm Debbie, and you're on with By Storytellers, and we're here with Sue William Silverman. and she's got a lot of books. So yeah, you're a prolific writer. So we're going to be talking first about selected misdemeanors, essays at the mercy of the reader. So what's this about, Sue?
So this book is it's a collection of flash essays,
Mm,
and there's 71 of them. And the overall arc of the book, sort of the main theme of it, is how the narrator in these essays is kind of searching for a home,
mm.
comfort, safety, stuff like that, security. But at the same time, she doesn't know how to find it because of these misdemeanors, which, I should hasten to add that, I've never been in jail or, there's nothing, I didn't, nothing legal
Not
here.
from experience, huh? From
Right,
your
right,
imagination. Okay.
right. But it's more like sort of emotional misdemeanors,
Okay.
relationships with inappropriate men.
Okay.
um, there's one essay about I was sort of drunk in a bar in Galveston, this sort of seedy bar, and I was alone, but I was married. And I just made this decision, oh, I should get divorced, the really bad time to make a decision. So it's sort of those misdemeanors. So the actions of the narrator are in conflict with what she really wants. And so that's sort of the overall theme of the book.
That's interesting. Yeah, we all have those thoughts, I think. You go through life and wait, this isn't what I imagined. Can it be different? Then when it comes down to it, do I really want to change? Maybe not. Maybe what's I'm imagining is all fairy tale and that's not really going to happen, that kind of thing. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, so the growing up, I came from a very dysfunctional family, and I struggled with addiction in my younger years. And there's a little bit of that in this book, but I do that more in previous books. And so this is these 71 essays are sort of spread throughout my life, and some of them are lighter. It's not like just a dark book at all. But others, there's another essay where, you know, for a long time, I sort of presented myself and men saw me kind of as a, they sort of sexualized me, saw me as a sex object. And then I went to a Chippendales dancer thing, with male
Yeah,
dancers.
yeah.
And which isn't a really smart thing to do if you're not in a good emotional headspace. But it was sort of like me then sexualizing men, which isn't any healthier
At the
than,
time, it was something that we all did. I went to Chippendales. In fact, my one of my girlfriends dated somebody that was a Chippendales dancer.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's fascinating.
yeah, so that was fun. But yeah, it's at the time it was when feminism was new, and we were told we were raised to be, wanting everybody's approval, and we were raised to be secretaries. I mean, I learned shorthand in high school, and typing things like
Yeah.
that. We were raised differently, and sex wasn't something that girls did. Guys could do it. You guys could be with a million different girls, and it didn't matter if a girl was with two guys, she was a slut, right?
Yeah.
So we were so Chippendales comes around and everyone's yeah, let's with our inner girl came out and that was fun. They were rowdy crowds. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, if you're going for the right reasons, there's a difference sort of, like I was going really sort of for the wrong reasons, but going for the right reasons of just sort of a fun night out, I guess. But it's a tricky space because like, should we be sexualizing anybody really? And or really trying to see have deeper, more meaningful um, ways of living. And so and I think that's something that I probably write about really, excuse me, in all my books to some extent, is just finding what is sort of emotionally authentic.
yeah, because I think you're right. I mean, and all of us, I mean, those are really fun things. And I think sex is good either way, as long as it's consensual. So it doesn't matter. And the guys that are at Chippendales or the girls that do that kind of thing, they're in it because that's what they like to do. That's fine. That's their as long as it's consensual, that's their job. That's fine. But finding a loving relationship in that it you have to go beyond the parameters. You have to go to the soul because the body is not something that you're going to live with forever. It's the soul that you're going to stay with for married for 40
Exactly.
years. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So tell me more about your books, your life. I want to hear more about you. You sound so interesting.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, so my first book is Because I Remember Terror, Father, I Remember You. And that is about growing up in this incestuous family. And that book is obviously the darkest book. And then my second book is Lovesick, which is about 28 days I spent in rehab for sex addiction. And that book was made into a Lifetime TV movie, which was very exciting.
Wow.
I know, I really liked that. It was a really interesting experience. Um, and then
What's the name of the movie? What was it
it's
eventually called?
called Lovesick also.
Okay. Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Great.
And it's starring Sally Pressman, who used to be on Army Wives and has
Okay.
been in a lot of TV movies. Um, and then, so those are sort of my two kind of darkest books.
Hmm.
And then I wrote a book called The Pat Boone Fan Club. My life as a white Anglo-Saxon Jew. And yeah, you can tell from the title, it's sort of ironic. But growing up, I wanted Pat Boone to adopt me. And because he has this really squeaky clean, very wholesome image.
Mm.
So he was everything my father wasn't. So for me, he
Wow.
became like this metaphor for like the safe father.
Mm.
And so, so it wasn't like a crush on him. It's more, I just wanted him to be my father. He had like four daughters,
Hmm.
and I wanted him to be like his fifth daughter and stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah,
That's
and
sad that you had that upbringing, though, that you had to think of.
yeah. Yeah, no, I know. But I mean the book is it's a collection of essays, and it's not there are only about four essays that are actually about Pat Boone. I later on did actually meet him. And so it's sort of about this relationship that we now have. But it's also really more overall about this narrator's misguided search for spirituality, just kind of looking for spirituality, but really in the wrong places because she doesn't know where to find it in the right places, really. So that's sort of the theme of that book. And then the next book is also has an ironic title, uh, How to Survive Death and Other Inconveniences, which
I love that title.
thank you. And it's sort of it started out kind of being about like my fear of death because I really am scared of it. And but then it kind of evolved, and it's more about sort of different forms of death. I mean, like, we can have emotional death, spiritual death, like say if you go through a divorce or a loved one dies or we get sick. So it's sort of about just different ways of kind of looking at the idea of death very broadly, through a lot of different lenses. So that's what that book is about. And then I've written a couple of craft books. One is Acetylene Torch Songs, writing true stories to ignite the soul, to sort of encourage other people. I think I'm a firm believer in personal narrative and how important everybody's story is. And so it's the book kind of there's craft things like how to do it, but it's also a kind of sort of a little pep talk about how important, like, everybody's story is important. Some people think, oh, I didn't do anything and nobody would care about my story. But like, I don't believe that. I think that anybody's story can be important if you write it, with emotional authenticity, metaphorically, and don't just say like this happened to me and this happened to me. But if you really dig deep to find out, like what do these things mean?
Mhm.
And I give you an example really from my new book. So on the cover, whoops, of this book is a little picture of a goldfish, but
Yeah.
he's belly up, so that's not a good
Oh.
sign.
Oh.
So, but so in the essay about him, um, it starts out that the man who I'm dating at the time, he goes off to boot camp. And but he's a boyfriend, but he's not really loving, and I want to marry him and he doesn't want to get married. So it's not a great relationship. So he goes off to boot camp. And when he does, speaking of unhealthy relationships, I have an affair with his roommate, just sort of for comfort, not a smart thing. One of my misdemeanors.
For comfort. Yeah.
And then I also buy this goldfish, sort of for, also for comfort. So I have this unhealthy relationship, but I have this goldfish. And then the roommate inevitably breaks up with me. And then the goldfish dies, which
Oh.
is another, because I was so distraught, I forgot to feed him, which is another misdemeanor. Now, if I just told the story straight, like the way I just told you, it's sort of an anecdote and it can be sort of sad, funny kind of thing. But in the essay, I had to show how the goldfish was really a metaphor for, loss of love, loneliness. This little goldfish, before he died, was just like swimming around in this little bowl all by himself and was lonely. And, I mean, I projected this loneliness onto him. And so if you're, so I didn't know that though until I wrote the essay. I mean, that's why I write to understand what something means. So by writing that essay, and I understood, oh, this goldfish really is a metaphor for this whole period of my life where I am lonely and I feel kind of lost. And there is a sense of sort of emotional and spiritual death because I have a boyfriend who doesn't love me. Then I think, well, maybe the roommate will love me. He doesn't love me. Then my goldfish dies. And so it's sort of like this series of events. But you have to be willing to go deep inside that experience to really, mine it for all it's worth and look at what are the details uh, in this essay, what elements like this goldfish can I use that I can craft in such a way so that they are metaphors for this deeper experience? Because in creative nonfiction, whether it's flash like this book or memoir or whatever, you want to write it metaphorically because then metaphors are universal.
Mhm.
Because, like, if I just said to you, "Oh, my goldfish died," and I felt sad and lonely, you say, "Well, that's too bad, Sue."
Yeah.
But that's not
Mhm.
a unit. But those are just abstract words. Sadness and loneliness are just abstract. But by writing it metaphorically through this goldfish, then a reader can identify with your story because it's tangible, something tangible a reader can hold on to. So even though somebody else did not have a dead goldfish in their life, they can identify with it, with what the goldfish represents. So
Mhm.
that's why these metaphors are really important.
And you teach writing, right? You teach that in your writing classes?
Yes, so it's a low residency MFA in writing program, Vermont College of Fine Arts. And I've been teaching there since about 2002. And yeah, I really love to teach. And again, it sort of goes back to, having a voice and then teaching other people how to find their voices. Because I feel, like when I write these books and I'll get emails from people who will kind of thank me for telling their story too. And, and that's gratifying and it's empowering. And, but then it also makes me feel how grateful I am because I have a voice that I can write these stories
Hmm.
and, sort of make this connection with other people. And so I think, that's writing is sort of, it's kind of like the human experience, it's how we connect with other people.
Well, and you're giving to them. So I think that's also, this is just me thinking this, but you've had such struggles with love your whole life, looking for love and all these addictions and things like that, all trying to feel that void in your heart. And so by giving to others in the way that you do that, I think to me, I think it would be very satisfying. That's I write, and it's because it makes it satisfying to me to give to other people. It's better than diamonds, just that you just giving to others is just makes it fills you up with such energy, right?
Well, it really does. I mean, I sort of take it in stages. I mean, sort of the first stage is, I have to say, I pretty much kind of write for myself because I want to understand what something means. Like, so I had this goldfish, or, I went to this Chippendales thing, and, what did that mean to me? Sort of looking back on it now, in the time these things just happen, I have no idea what they mean. But now, years later, as a writer, um, that voice, the authorial voice, sort of steps in and makes sense of these events. And so, first and foremost, I do write because I want to understand my life. Like, okay, I did this. What did it mean? And if I just think about it, I really won't come up with an answer. So I really have to write it to understand it. And so that's the first step. And then and also that's a good first step because it doesn't put a lot of pressure on you, like worrying, oh, well, what somebody is going to think of this if I tell somebody that, oh, I committed adultery or something, are they going to judge me? And, if they do, they do. I can't control that. But I don't put that pressure on myself during the writing. I just have to get the story down.
Mhm.
And then once I get the story down, then it's ready to sort of be released into the world. And then that's where you can start making these connections with other people.
Well, and you learn so much through your own writing, don't you, about all these different situations? So by writing these and offering these to other people who might be in similar situations, I think it can help them to navigate their own circumstances.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, whenever an artist, writer artist puts something out into the world, it is to touch somebody else. It is to you know, I mean, whether it's a painting or a sculpture or a photograph, whatever it is, a movie, a book, um, it is sort of mirroring the world. Like, all art is is sort of intersecting with some like political, social, cultural something that's happening in the world. And so we make these connections, and it's sort of like how does say like my life intersect with you know uh, something that's going on kind of in the universe. And so, yeah, that's what art is making these connections and sort of being part of this larger conversation.
Hmm. And I think it's really important now because there's so much turmoil in the world and people are feeling lonely and disillusioned and uh, things happen, like our whole world right now, there's so many issues happening. It's making everybody feel a little uneasy or a lot uneasy and looking at everybody differently and whatnot. It's time that we really need to pull together and be kind to people around us. But
Oh,
um,
yeah.
yeah, what do you think about all that and how your work can help enlighten that?
Yeah, I mean, I think art's always important, but I think it's especially important during these tough times. And it's interesting because sometimes when really, I'd say during the pandemic, I had a lot of writer friends who think, well, I'm not even going to bother writing because this horrible thing is going on and millions of people are dying. And my response is, no, this is the time we really need to write. We really need to kind of get our art out in the world. And, if you have say, story about the pandemic, write it, but it doesn't have to be about that, just whatever, in fact, this selective misdemeanors, I got about half of it done during the pandemic, when I started maybe the end of 2020, something like that. And it really helped save me. I mean, because all of it was so scary and, I couldn't go out anyway. That was, there's no place to go. And I was really terrified. And so I just dug into writing, and it really helped sort of center me. And even if I was writing about something sort of scary, it didn't matter. It was my story, my narrative. I could control the narrative, whereas you can't control these big forces outside of yourself. And so I think that every word that we write is kind of a beacon of hope,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And so, and now I think it is a scary time. A lot of people are not doing well. And it's another time when you write, you put your art in the world. And because art, I think, is what gives people hope. I mean, why? We're still reading like Greek tragedies. We still look at ancient Greek tragedies and ancient Greek sculpture. I mean, there's a reason for that. It's
Yeah.
because art survives the centuries. Whereas, political leaders come and go, wars come and go, but what lasts? I mean, art lasts.
Yeah. Well, do you mind talking about women a little bit? Because what's happening now happened to us when we were, younger. We went through it. We got the whole feminist movement or whatever you want to call it. Um, we did the work then to get the rights that we have now, and then now they want to take those rights back and put everybody back into their boxes. It's we I don't think it'll happen. I think we're strong enough now that it's not going to happen, but it is a little bit scary. But for people that don't know, the younger girls and guys that don't know what it was like then, talk a little bit about that.
Oh, it was, before Roe v. Wade, before the abortion bill was passed. I mean, like when I was in college, every month, every woman in my dorm, we were terrified. Are you going to get your period? Aren't you going to get your period? I mean, abortion was illegal. And if you found somebody who would perform one, could be like the back alley, and women died from it. It was just horrifying. I mean, I remember exactly where I was standing when heard about Roe v. Wade being passed. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's how powerful it is, because that's
Mm-hmm.
a long time ago. And now women's rights are being taken away, and it's scary, it's horrifying. It's men making decisions for women's bodies. And that's just, it is so depressing and it makes me so angry. And I don't know, the Supreme Court is stacked against women, and I don't know what's going to happen, but it's a lot. And I think women really have to band together and vote for our interests
Mm-hmm.
and not, sort of make excuses like not to vote, or all politicians are the same, because they're not.
Mm-hmm. But
And
it's even more than that. It's the how women are perceived. Like you said, you were a sex object because you were pretty. I was a model also when I was younger, and I worked for. I actually started. I was a model and actress, um, and anyway, I was one day my agent and my hairdresser died, and I know, and something came over me. I said, Debbie, get out before the manicurist gets it. It was, I mean, it could have been funny, but it really was not. It was tragic. So I went into the business of film at that time, and I went in and became an executive. And I thought, okay, I was successful. Everybody liked me, it seemed like. And I heard my boss one day telling one of the distributors, oh, you'll love her. She's the prettiest girl in the industry. It's like, wait, I have experience, I have a brain. They didn't see me that way. And I used to model and I would go on these things, and you'd think that the people that were talking to you, the guys that were talking to you, would see you, but they didn't. And I saw this 10 years later when I saw other models that they were talking to, and they were looking at them the way they used to look at me. And I thought, they don't see those girls. They just see pretty girls. They don't see their brains. And that's how they want to perceive us now. They want us to go back to that time when we were just pretty little things that could, make them feel better.
I
And
know.
it's not going to happen, but
Yeah,
but
no,
still.
I know. I mean, I worked on Capitol Hill at that time, and I mean, their congressmen were having affairs with
Mhm.
their secretaries all the time. I mean, it was just rampant.
Yeah, yeah. You hear about all those stories, especially in modeling, whatnot. You hear all the different stories, the different people, crazy. But yeah, girls need to band together. Women need to get band together and support each other. And in the olden days, it used to be people were catty because they all were competing for a man. We don't have to do that now.
No,
So
I
it can be
know.
better. So we can be kind to each other and not undercut each other.
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, women just really need to support each other. We need to lift each other up. We need to protect each other.
Mhm.
That is absolutely crucial. And I do see that much like on say on social media, I do see a lot of that with oh, a woman writer say is getting sort of trashed by, a misogynistic reviewer, and women are just sort of banding together and saying,
Good.
wait a minute, this is not right.
Good.
Sort of judging the book not by the quality of the writing, but because of the content. Like they didn't like, what her life choices. They didn't like her
Mhm.
life choices. Never mind that she was turning that into art and exploring it, but they were really attacking her, her just the choices she had made. And they never do that with men,
Yeah, they don't. Yeah,
no.
they don't.
And so it's just really scary and unfortunate. And all we can do is keep fighting back. I mean, that's all we can do is just, yeah,
Keep fighting back and then keep believing in ourselves. Thank goodness there are a lot of really wonderful people in the world, guys and girls, that put out different content to help each other. I love that. It's something that I think if because we can't rely on government anymore, really, we can't rely on corporations or anybody to take care of us. We have to do it ourselves. I think there's so much going on that people discriminate so rampantly, which is ridiculous because we're all the same. Um,
yeah,
I think that if we one by one just team up together in the world we can touch, then we can lift up our little community, and then by then it'll grow and pretty soon the others will fade away if we ignore it because they won't be important to us because we have our
yeah,
torch shining here. So we need to
yeah.
just keep shining and help each other shine, right?
I like that idea. Yeah, help each other shine. Yes, because women are powerful. We're really
Yeah.
strong. And as a force, we really could be a force to be reckoned with.
Hmm.
And we can just mow those men down.
Yeah, especially with our pocketbooks. If
Yeah,
you don't like
yeah,
something, don't buy it,
yeah,
right? That's
exactly.
how
Yeah,
we can change the
absolutely.
world.
Yeah,
Make the
yeah,
companies do something that's right rather
yeah.
than because they're all after corporate greed. They're all after
I know.
capitalism, right? So
Yeah. Well, that and at the voting booth,
that too, yeah, definitely.
both of
Although
them.
hopefully it'll still be there.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a question too. Well,
Yeah.
it's so scary.
I think it will. I'm very optimistic that we'll be
Yeah,
fine. I think that honestly, there have been so much discrimination our whole through years of my lives, right? All these different changes, even when it was politely in the closet, it was still there. I remember when I was little, my grandparents lived in Baldwin Hills, and people would come by on the way to church and talk to my grandfather because we were always out front gardening, and he had beautiful camellias. But the women were dressed in these beautiful suits for church, and the men were all dressed up. And it dawned on me when I was like 3 or 4 that they had to try harder for the same kind of respect. And I thought that was wrong then. Yeah, and although they looked beautiful and they became my idols because they were dressed so well and they smelled so good, but it wasn't right. And so now, even though we're in this horrible mess right now, somebody ripped the Band-Aid off and it showed what the scab is. And we've got to just heal that because it
yeah,
was always there. We just didn't talk about it before. So it's
right.
ugly, but I think we'll get through it. We just had to see it in order to be able to heal it. And there's enough people that are good people that are banding together to heal it because we are all the same and we need to support each other. I live in Los Angeles, which is very diverse, and I was raised in diversity, so I'm really lucky in that way. Other
Yeah,
people weren't. Other people were raised in uh, places like go to church where they're taught a certain thing. So as babies, they're taught think a certain
Right.
way. So can we judge them? Not really. So really the only way to open mindset is through education and and conversation, right?
Exactly. Yeah, no, I think that's true. And, I mean, like podcasts like yours, I mean, that, to have a really open and honest discussion, I mean, that helps move sort of the narrative forward as well.
Hmm. Yeah. So hopefully we'll be fine with that. So what
Yeah.
else are you working on?
So, right now this is sort of funny because like I've written, like 250-page memoirs. I've written this, personal essays that are about, you know, anywhere from 10 to 20 pages or so. And now I have this flash book. But what I'm trying to figure out how to write, because I absolutely don't know how to do it, are like more journalistic articles.
Oh,
Like I absolutely cannot figure out how to do that. And it frustrates me. I mean, I've written a few, but they're sort of, I don't know, hit and miss. And so, the kind of articles that you would see, say, on HuffPost, stuff
uh-huh.
like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to do that. And I'm trying to teach myself how to write those
Just keep
articles.
thinking like that old show on I forget what it's called, but he said, just the facts, ma'am.
Yeah,
Keep
right.
thinking,
Pretty
just the
much.
facts,
I know.
ma'am.
See, that's what gets me sort of stumped because I'm so used to writing sort of metaphorically and going deep into something. And when you have these sort of shortish articles, you can't do that.
Hmm.
And so it's like it's really a different way of thinking.
Hmm.
And it's really hard. I
Oh
have to sort
yeah.
of I have to sort of untrain myself, at least momentarily, to figure like, and so I've been reading a lot of them, trying to figure how did they do that? And so that's what I'm trying to do because I'm sort of taking a break from writing another long book. But I need to write. I mean, I need to be doing something
Mm.
that's creative. So, and that's one thing that I absolutely have not figured out how to do.
Is there a topic
So
that you're doing? Is there a reason you're doing
it
it?
doesn't even, no, I mean, it doesn't even matter what the topic is. I mean, um, sort of, I think the first one I'm kind of working on, but I may change my mind, is how there are a lot of articles, a lot of people talk about sort of the invisibility of the older woman. And for me, what I found sort of interesting is that it's just the opposite.
Hmm.
Is that when I was younger, people, yes, saw me sexually, but they didn't see me.
Hmm.
And so it's like, how do you want to be seen? And so that's sort of vaguely what it is, but I don't know if it's going to work. We'll see.
You want my opinion?
Yeah.
I would do it from your perspective because you have both sides. So
Oh, yeah.
tell it like a factual story, like, okay, and maybe outline, here's the history, here are the points, and then pretty soon it'll come to you. But that sounds wonderful because you've lived that whole thing and you can tell the whole gamut of
Yeah.
the differences. And I think seeing that, um, especially in today's world, where women will see how the younger self was treated by the world and the and yourself now, how you're treated differently probably. Um, that I think it'll make an impact on people. I think that would be great.
Well, thank you. I'll keep at it.
Well, and so your next book is this is going to be your next book. Are you going to publish this?
Uh, Wait,
Are you
which?
going to publish through your journalistic writings?
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, if I can get enough of them together, but I haven't even written one yet.
Oh,
So, yeah, so that's way down the road. But yeah, if I can do it, I will. So, but I've just finished this book, Select a Misdemeanor, so I'm gonna just get that sort of out in the world and launched and everything, and then I'll have sort of more time and energy to start, this writing these articles and see if they can sort of, gather together kind of around a theme or something.
that's
Yeah.
nice. And so
Yeah.
you teach full time or part time?
Well, it's a low residency program, and so it is considered part-time, but and what that means is that so every it's a 2-year program. It's an MFA degree, Master Fine Arts degree in writing. And every 6 months, all the students and all the faculty, we gather on campus for like 9 days where we have really intensive, like writing workshops and lectures and readings and stuff like that. And then during that time, we also, every faculty member is assigned students to work with for the rest of the semester. So usually about 5 students or so. So now we're in the middle of the semester, and like once a month, students will send me their work to read, about 40 pages of creative work, and then I critique it and I email it back to them. And so it's not a kind of thing where I have to show up for class every day at all. So it is considered part-time. And then in January, so we had our summer residency in July, and then in January we'll have our winter residency. So we'll all go back to campus again, and everybody gets together. But it's really nice because it's I really love my colleagues, and it's talking about community. It's a really strong, vibrant community of writers,
Mhm.
and everybody looks forward to seeing everybody again, and it's just really it's very nourishing sort of for your soul, to be with like-minded people, people who also care about writing and the arts. And then it's also this low residency model is a good way for writers to learn how to write because they don't have to be showing up at class all the time. I mean, they really have time to focus on the writing itself. And it's like you don't have to give up, a job or anything. It's, um, and you don't have to say move away from your family. You just stay where you live and you travel to campus and then you go home. And um, so, yeah, so it is. So, once a month I spend, about a week or so reading my students' work and that. So, yeah,
That's neat. So
yeah,
if
it is.
so for aspiring writers, do you have any tips, something that constructive that you can tell them that might help them?
Yes. First of all, really believe in yourself. And that's hard when you haven't gotten published. But here's a little anecdote that I can share. So my first book won the Associated Writing and Writing Programs Award in creative nonfiction back in, I think it was 1998, something like that. And okay, before that book got published, I hadn't been published, and people would say, "Oh, Sue, what do you do?" And would say, "I'm a writer." They would say, "Well, what can I read something, what have you published?" I'll say, "Well, I haven't published it." So they would think, "Well, that's weird. It must just be like a hobby." I mean, they did not take me seriously at all. And so finally, I think I stopped telling people even that I was a writer. I made up something else. I don't know. Um, but anyway, so then I had this manuscript that was my first book, and I sent it off to this contest. And the director of it called me one day and said, "Your book won this contest." So, yay, that was great. And then I would tell people, and then everybody would be impressed. Oh, Sue's a writer. But the book, think about the book. 2 seconds before it won the contest, it was the exact same book as 2 seconds after it won the contest. But before that, I was like a failure. It's the same book, like not even a comma has changed, right? And so, but all the time, and I wrote for probably about 10 years before I got that first book published. So you really have to be committed and believe in yourself and not be swayed by other people's judgment of you. And I somehow I knew I was going to get published. I just knew that I had to stay with it. And honestly, here's sort of three things you need if to get published. You do need some talent. You do need some luck. But more than anything is you need tenacity. You have to stay with it. And in my experience, I mean, people with whom I went to, learned how to write at the time, I was not the best writer in graduate school, wasn't, but I was probably the most stubborn and I stayed with it and I got better and better. And now, I mean, I've published more than people who were better writers than I was way back then because they didn't stay with it. So take some writing classes, some luck, but just don't give up.
Mm.
If you really want to write and you really want to be published, just keep doing it. And and it also really can help to be, I mean, you don't have to go off and, actually get an MFA degree if you don't want to, but find some kind of writing group so that you're not alone. Because if you're with like-minded people, then you can really support each other.
Mhm.
If you're having a bad writing day, people can commiserate with you. If you're having a good day and you get something published, everybody can sort of celebrate, your accomplishment. Either way it goes. Um, and so I think it's just, writing is very lonely. I mean, you're sitting in your room all day by yourself, or not all day, but for a few hours every day or whatever, by yourself. And then it's sort of easier to kind of doubt yourself, like, why am I doing this? Why am I sitting here by myself? I could be out having fun or doing something else. Um, but if you have a group and you can, encourage each other, commiserate with each other, but also sort of keep each other honest, like, okay, what is your writing time? So be sure you're sitting in your chair, like from 9 to 10 or whatever it is, somebody to sort of hold you accountable to it.
Oh, that's good. How fun. Well, it's
Yeah.
really been, I love talking with you. I hope to talk to with you again. This has been really nice. I
Well,
enjoyed
thank you
meeting
so
you.
much. Thank you so much for having me. It's really been delightful to talk to you as well.
Sure. So we'll put links to all your books in the post that we do.
Thank
And so
you.
everybody go out and get her books because they're really interesting.
Thank you
And
so
and
much.
you're interesting too. So you keep it up. We love you. I love you. You
Thank you.
take care
Love
of
you
yourself.
too. Good.
Okay. All
Bye.
right. Bye.
Bye.